Home is where connections are made, memories are formed, and ideas are born. And no one knows home better than NFM. Thanks for tuning in to I Am Home, the podcast that goes deeper than trends and dives into what it means to make your house a home.
Welcome to I Am Home, the Home Life Best Life podcast. I'm Tyler Wisecup, joined by my co-host, the Tide Pod to our Pod. It's Becca Sudbeck.
Hey, Tyler.
Hi, Becca. And our other co-host is the bleach bright brains of the operation. It's Hilary Waltemath.
Hey, Tyler.
Hi, Hilary. Why are we laughing so much? I don't understand. This month, our theme is your home's ultimate guide to kid and pet solutions. Today's topic is laundry pairs, and we brought a special guest, an appliance savant, you've been described, the perfect person to help us understand all the ins and outs of washers and dryers. It's NFMer Joseph Casella. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Of course, we're honored to have you. Again, the appliance
Well,
savant.
yeah, I'm a savant.
It's raving. People are raving about how much information you have to give, and so we're excited to be a part of that. So, but first, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast, and that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life, and you can learn more at nfm.com. So, Joey, can I introduce you quickly to our audience?
Yes, please.
Okay, I have a little bit of information, and feel free to add to that. Joey, you've been with NFM for almost 8 years. The last 5 has been in appliances.
Yeah, just about.
And I got to know you briefly. We talked about this before you jumped on. You were in the marketing team for a little while. We worked on a house for Habitat together once, and you just called me, you put me on blast right away that I was very critical of your painting technique.
I wouldn't say on blast. I think you just gave accurate feedback in the moment on how others were contributing more to the house.
No, Joe, I was giving you a hard time. And I'm sorry we haven't been able to live it down, but at least we can talk it through here in the podcast, and we can be, congenial enough to go through and talk laundry pairs. So let's start with the basics for this topic of kid pet solutions, laundry pairs. If our listeners haven't been in the market for one recently, how have washers and dryers evolved over the last few years? What's kind of some of the biggest things?
Yeah, and I think that's such a great question, because when you look at the lifespan of a washer or dryer, you're talking about 10 to 13 years, right?
Yeah.
So if you've been out of the market for that long, it's been a drastic change.
So much.
Yeah. So some of the things that we've been seeing is not just innovations into the actual hardware, but we've seen leaps and bounds of improvements to the software as well. We have some brands that you can have an app that you can monitor your laundry. You can restart the cycle if you think you need to. You can see how much detergent you have left.
Oh, wow.
From a hardware perspective, they're getting bigger, they're getting faster. And as we talk about more about the innovations in pet and other cleaning solutions, we'll be able to talk about how these machines have adapted over that time. So I think this is the podcast for anyone who's back in the market to listen to. This is it. We're going to try to break it down for you as we can, so we can help you navigate your next purchase experience.
Yeah, that's interesting. Again, 10, 15 years, if you think about evolutions on just your phone, how often they just are upgrading some of those things, it's night and day from the flips to where washers and dryers are today, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very similar technological boom, I would say. The innovation is really geared towards making things more efficient. So I mean, we can all admit that doing laundry is not the most fun task.
No, it's a never-ending task too.
That's exactly right. And all this innovation that we're seeing in the market nowadays is geared around making that task easier and faster and more efficient, so you can get back to the things that you really care about. It's a little bit faster.
Yeah, I love that. So one general question that I have for you, is it better to buy a washer and dryer as a pair, or to mix and match, buy them at separate times? What's your thoughts there?
I think so. Your washer will go out 9 times out of 10 before your dryer. So that life cycle will go a little bit faster. I would still recommend replacing both at the same time, because typically that dryer is not far behind it. So if your washer goes out after 10 years, your dryer is maybe can hobble along for another year or two, but you're going to feel better if you get a matching set anyway. And as we talk about some of this innovation, for example, pet innovation, Maytag has a piece out that has a specific pet system as a pair. So you have the agitator that will capture your pet hair, and then a specialized dryer that has a vent that will capture more of that hair as well. So there's also benefits as we talk about some of that new innovation into getting a pair. There's a connected story if you're connecting that to an app or something, that if they're both connected, you can actually monitor both instead. So, and that they look way different now as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen them. They look kind of nice. You're not so ashamed of them anymore. We're not
Right.
shutting the door on our laundry as much.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend doing it as a set. So you not only are matching the aesthetics, but you're getting the maximum feature set that pair was intended.
Yeah. I'm thinking about like our laundry routine, like the wash cycle and the dry cycle are like similar in length. And like, so it's like very scheduled out that you're like going down to switch it once. And to your point about new technology in one, not the other, if like your washing machine is operating so much faster and you're waiting for your clothes to dry before you can do the switch over, like that would be a massive headache.
Yes, absolutely.
I think pet parents are curious about this one. You've kind of alluded to some of these technologies already, but like, what are some of the features or settings that are helping most with specifically like removing pet hair and like dander and things from clothes?
Yeah, we've got a couple of pairs recently that have come out in the last few years that are specifically tailored to remove pet hair.
Oh, wow.
So the one we talked about with the Maytag pair, the 6500 if you're going to be looking. But we've also got the Samsung 7150, which is an impeller version. So difference between an agitator and impeller, for those not informed, is the agitator is that kind of column that sits in the middle and really rubs against your clothes to get that nice clean. And then an impeller uses the motion of the water and the drum, and or either contrary or the same directional motion to clean your clothes. And so Samsung has an impeller one that you have two filters on the side to capture that pet hair, with specialized dryers to take care of that as well. And if you're not into top load, they've got a Maytag version that is a front load that has those baffles that you normally see in your front load washer will actually come up, and those capture pet hair too. So there's specific like technology that's been made to capture that pet hair. And I've had a chance to travel and see these and talk with the product managers from these companies. And it's wild how efficient they are. Like it's fantastic. And when you look at from a software perspective too, we're also seeing the market come out with some of these over-the-air updates. So when you buy a washer, specifically if we look at the new GE combo unit, for example, when you buy that one, they actually push through a free update that uses intermittent bursts of air to get rid of some of that pet hair. So you have a new pet cycle that you didn't anticipate getting when you got that piece.
Oh, that's cool.
That's crazy.
Like cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like a car, like your phone, like
Or,
just like that's crazy that we're doing that now with washers, dryers. And you said this was a combo unit now, because that's like a newer type thing that we're seeing a little. Well, I don't know if it's super new, but it seems a little bit more popular maybe than it has been.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right. It's not new. They've been out in the market for a while now, but they haven't been, to be frank, terribly efficient. You know, you'd put it in 6 hours, you might have a dry right? And they're really used primarily for compact settings.
Yeah.
Profile came out last year with this new combo unit where you can plug it into 120 and put it in your closet. It doesn't need to be vented, and you can run a cycle in 2 hours. It's just a standard low cycle.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
So this is one unit that
it
washes and
dries.
dries.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
How awesome would it be to not have to like take the wet clothes out and put them in the dryer?
Yes.
Oh, the low
That's
transfer.
like one of my most unfavorite
Drop
things to
a
do.
sock in between
And
the
it's just
two.
like heavy and just wet. I don't know why, but I
Sensation
really
nightmare. Yeah.
despise that part of the
Weird
wash.
textures when you're picking it up, and yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's crazy that again, the technologies get to that point where it's a lot more efficient than it has been. 2 hours to me seems pretty normal for like how long
a wash and a
it's
dry.
permitted.
Yeah.
Totally.
And it'll vary if you load more in, and obviously if you try to fill it everything you can in the house. If you're I'm one of those laundry people.
Yeah.
I do it all at once. It'll take a little bit longer, but it's fantastic if you have a busy life and a lot of kids. You can leave the load overnight, and then you don't have to worry about the transfer.
Yeah, that's
And Samsung and LG have also released theirs as well. So there's a lot of options to choose from in that space now, all with that about 2 hour time frame standard. But of course, it'll vary depending on how much you load into it.
I have another question for you, Joey. Like, can you explain how important steam cycles and like high speed are to like those settings to removing like pet hair and child messes and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the time the benefit when we talk about speed is that it gets done quicker, right?
Mhm.
But that also like kind of, I guess, enhanced agitation does a lot to knock that speed down or that hair off the clothes, and then you really get it captured. In addition, steam is a really big component as well, and when it's utilized properly, not only does it function as a sanitizing depending on the model that you get, which is great, and that it's very, very a very nice feature to have. But it also, if we talk about, for example, the Maytag front load unit, that actually uses that steam to help get some of that hair off and help sanitize as well. So yeah, a lot of that technology kind of like builds on top of itself to really give you the most optimal clean and most efficient sanitization process.
Are you seeing people when they buy new? Because I've done laundry for like, forever, but like all the new bells and whistles, sometimes I'm like, I don't know which of these settings. Like, are people like discovering some of these a little bit more? Like, how do you see customers kind of getting engaged with more of this? Like, because I know activewear, there's like a setting for that if you got like sweaty clothes and things like that. Can you kind of walk through some of like how customers are learning and progressing on some of these new like functions, like that are specific to things like that?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing is obviously people who've been out of the market, it's a daunting task to come in and learn all this, right? You've got dozens of functions. Now it's very specific. You can customize. And then some of the washing machines that we have on the floor are smart enough that they will memorize those habits and put them to the top. So if you're constantly washing that activewear, that cycle will come up to the top for you.
Crazy.
The user interfaces have gotten complicated where we have in comparison, I should say. So we have the knobs where someone might be able to adapt to that if they're a little bit more used to that kind of technology. And it's just a knob that has, you know, the nice tactile feel. We all know how it feels when it kind of crunches in your hand. Then we also have knobs that have an LCD screen on them, and that's your UI. And so I think what we've been seeing is customers really starting to hop on board with some of that. So when we looked at LG, for example, when they launched their FX line with that LCD screen, we saw people really flock towards it. And we were a little bit surprised because we thought there would be a little bit of hesitation from people coming in and not really knowing how that would work. But they did a great job getting that out there. And then we're seeing similar with the Profile combo unit and the Samsung combo unit, both really tech heavy, a lot of different features. But the Profile unit, we actually saw it go viral immediately.
Wow.
It was really adopted by that kind of Gen Z millennial crowd. We were actually talking on a meeting yesterday, and we found out that 12% of laundry buyers are Gen Z, and you know, when you add in millennials, it's up to 50% of that whole market. So it's a younger crowd now that's coming out and buying these things for their houses. So I think they're a little bit more, for lack of a better phrase, tech savvy, and I think a little bit more adaptable to that. So luckily, we've been seeing pretty good reception to that, but I don't think that kind of tactile feel is going anywhere anytime soon. Some people still want the knobs.
The crunch,
The crunch, Speed Queen had a really, really classic feel.
Yeah.
That's a really good seller for us. It not only they have that dependability story, but it's the washer that you've always known, right? It's got the crunch, it's got the buttons.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're doing. You're going in, you're hitting a couple buttons, and you're done. You're not worrying
Super
about
reliable product too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. We talked about how laundry is never ending. What are some features? I think we've maybe alluded to some of these that help you make sure that you're washing and drying loads faster, especially like during the work week or something like that.
Yeah, I think outside of all the different cycles that these machines have and how they've been optimized through those cycles, I think regular kind of care and maintenance is most important. And I think particularly when it comes to drying, and we see it a lot when people have the dryer. They're not necessarily always cleaning out that lint trap. And you want to get in there, you want to clean that out of your dryer. And every now and then, I would say as frequently as once a month if you can, I would take a hand vac and just vacuum after you pull that lint trap out and get anything else that's still under there.
Okay.
And then also checking your venting as well.
Yeah,
it's a big one.
that's cool.
House fires.
Yeah.
Run into
Exactly.
problems with that, and it's a safety issue too.
Yeah, and luckily they're easy to clean. I did mine just the other day. You just kind of undo it from where it is. Sometimes they're screwed in. Sometimes it's just kind of a pressure clamp that you can push down.
Okay.
And then you can go in. I just put on a pair of gloves, and then I just go in and I just pull out the lint. And if I need to, I can dust it out. But all of that will make sure that your drying times stay as advertised, and your machine has that longevity that you're looking for.
I didn't think about it from like an efficiency standpoint. I always knew like could cause a fire, but that makes total sense that if it's
all clogged up.
Yes.
With lint, that it's probably not going to work as advertised.
Yeah. Wow.
100%. what are some, like, we've talked about some of these really cool features. Is there anything like coming out in the near future that you're excited about, that you've heard about, or something that's come out recently?
There's a lot of exciting stuff coming out second half of this year. I can't speak to any of it yet.
Okay.
But we'll have some marketing go live in April for some of that, and then we'll have some more going live a little bit closer to second half. So a lot of cool things, so keep an eye out. Some of the things that I think that have come out recently that I'm a really big fan of is outside of the things we talk. I mean, we're really fortunate that at NFM we really assort like dependable, trustworthy brand that put out quality products. So there's a lot to choose from. So in addition to everything that we talked about, Electrolux actually came out with a new high-end washing and dryer machine, this wonderful Alpine green.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, it looks terrific. And it really optimizes how you clean on the cold setting, which is of course really great for sanitization purposes, but it's also great for energy usage as well, because most of the energy you're using in your machine is from heating up, heating up all that water.
Yep.
And so they've released that. It's regional exclusive, so you won't see it at Home Depot or Lowe's or anything. But we've got it on the floor. It looks great. It performs great. I got to see it when they were getting ready to launch it in their headquarters in North Carolina, and it's fantastic. And it's the upgrades they've made to specifically address that sanitization feature. It's just something that was needed that maybe may not have been top of mind. So I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that, like, you spoke earlier about some of like the aesthetic designs of them being so much more attractive. A trend I've seen in like either remodels or new builds is people putting laundry in their primary bedroom closet, as well as like the laundry room. And I just think, I'm like, oh, what a luxury that would be to not like
take your clothes anywhere,
lug your laundry basket back and forth and just like wash, dry, put away without even having to leave the room. What a convenience.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Joey, thanks for keeping this conversation fresh and wrinkle-free. Appreciate that today. I also want to thank my co-hosts, Becca and Hilary, our producers, Ann and Scott, and you listeners. We appreciate you, and we want to hear from you too. So check out our website, nfm.com/podcast, and send us your questions. Bye for now, but remember, home is what you make it.
Thanks for joining us today for I Am Home with Tyler Weisskopf, Hilary Waltemath, and Becca Sudbeck. No one knows home quite like NFM. So if you'd like more information on home design at NFM, please check out nfm.com and leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice.